Let me take you guys back to when I started vlogging. I used to go to Nike factory stores and Adidas stores. And I used to just randomly pull up, not know what to expect, and all I could find is dope deals similar to these KDs. This is normal. This is what we saw back in 2015 in the Nike clearance stores and factory stores. A lot of shoes were sitting widely available for people to purchase. That's why for the people who just got into games and they want shoes that's 5 or 10 years old, who do you think you're buying it from? You're buying it from OGs who probably bought them for $30 or $50 and now you're paying $200 for them. Fortunately, that's the uncomfortable truth, but that's how it was back in the days. Shoes sat, and for those who was collectors, bought them at a cheap price, preserved them, and if they want to sell them, they can get more than what they paid for them. So right now we're in JD Sports. We're gonna do a quick walkthrough, nothing serious. I see a whole bunch of dunks on sale along with Jordan. So we're gonna do a quick walkthrough and see what's popping. We're gonna start with the Air Maxes. They do got the Vapormax. This used to be a 220 shoe, now it's going for 160. They also got the platinum colorway. Now the good thing is right now, currently, you could get that at the Nike factory store for a lot cheaper. It's still gonna be over $100, but it's gonna be cheaper than this, unfortunately. They do got the Plus in all black. What are these? Never seen these before. $190 for these TL 2.5s. Damn, they're already on sale. I've never heard of them and they're already dropped on sale. These rarely ever go on sale. These are the 270s. Even a Nike outlet can be over $100. But they do got this pair for $120. They also got the bread colorway. Not really, but that's retail. Air Max 97 sat, Air Max 95 sat. All these shoes sat back in the days. And look at them, they're asking for retail for these. With the exception of this pair, that's $130. You can get these wolf grades in the outlet right now. Just be mindful that some of the boxes says blemish. And it looks like they might be cheaper here. Look at that, that's a win. And they got multiple different colors, whites, and even this gray. I ain't mad at it. With a little bit of black. $135 is the price though. You got orange and black. I like that colorway. This is dope. And when you see this tag, this means it's exclusive to JD, supposedly. You got the all-white pair. Now I see the all-white pair in the Nike factory stores, and they're going for like $105. Here they're going for $145. Now this is a LTR, so it kind of differs from the regular Air Max 90s, but they're available. That's reduced, $100. And for those who's not into Nikes or Adidas, they got Uncloud or Cloud Tech. It's supposed to be comfortable, but when you know better, you do better. Apparently none of these shoes is really better than the next. It's because how they're designed. They all got the same concept. They want to be light on your feet, but they crowd the toe box area. And most of them curl your toes up to propel you forward, and that's not what your feet needs. I mean, when you're in the space of sneakers, you got to know everything about them, right? At least close to. So I did a little research and find out that, yeah, a lot of these designs are flawed. So when you're buying a Jordan 1, you're definitely not buying a Jordan 1 for comfort, especially these mids. You're buying them for the aesthetics. And unfortunately, these shoes were designed back in 1985. Maybe not the mids, but this also has, and it hasn't changed in over 40 years. The 40-year-old tech, you would think they would know better. Nah, they just double down and give us different colorways and different materials. And we keep showing up and we keep buying them. These are the Air Jordan 1 lows, and they got them in multiple variants of colors. This one is $115. It's probably the cheapest one out here, and we're close to a Nike Unite store, which I actually saw these. I think they're under $100, and the box on these is kind of dope. Then they're giving us the shadow backboard lows. When they find something to sell, they give us all kinds of variants and colorways. Now, I'm not sure who rocked non-OG lows, but for me, the colorway is still not it. The materials play a big part on why the shadow backboards did so well. This pair is $110. It's not for me. But Nike does bring the nostalgia, not these Spizikes, but these Deion Sanders. They're going for $150, predominantly all red, but this wasn't the colorway he played in. However, they're gonna give us as much colorways as we're willing to pay. And if you're into sneakers, at one point in time, you did collect Air Force Ones. I mean, I did. Now, I did grow out the Air Force One fad very early on. I had multiple pairs really early in the 2000s. I was a big collector, but it wasn't doing much for me. So I eventually started collecting them. Then they came out with the Fly Knit version, which I actually like. And then I still got rid of those. So I kind of bowed out of collecting Air Force Ones, whether it's the Uptowns or the all black downtowns. It's far past for me. So I'm not surprised they got these for $85. So Nike factory store, which I would think would have them the cheapest, got for over $100. I see next colorway in the Nike Unite store, and that one's going for $80. These are the Jordan 4 RMs. They got the Spizikes. They got the Christmas version for $100. And they also got the KDs. These are the Easters. They didn't do too well. They're going for $135, so that has been reduced to $115. Back in 2015, these shoes will be widely available. Not this particular model, I think around the 7 to 8. It was actually the KD7, which released in 2014. That's when I started hitting the outlets and I started finding shoes like those for fairly affordable pricing. And it was widely available. And you had OGs that was picking these shoes up and reselling them in 2018, 19 for great money. No one cared about these shoes. Not only the KDs didn't care about, but they didn't care about the Kobe's either. And don't get me talking about LeBron. LeBron's was widely available. No one cared for those as well. Matter of fact, I don't think any Nike shoe was selling, with the exception of Kyrie's. You know what's even crazier? I don't even see LeBron's and JD Sports. Far less Finish Line. They do got the New Love ones. I call them the New Love Unos. They're like 135. I remember when the last release, it was $110. They got the Space Jams wannabe mids. They got the patent leather mids. They're giving you all variants, guys. Then we got the threes, the Rare Air threes for $190. You would think that was a suggested price. Nah, Jordan Brand have raised the price to $210 in the last year. So the reduced price is at the old Jordan retro pricing, $190. Then we also got the reimagined UNCs for $160. This is a $185 shoe. It's reduced to the old school pricing of the Air Jordan 1s back in 2015, 16. And before that, it was going for $140. Jordan 1s, that is. That was in the early teens, 2010, 11, etc. But the cut was different. Now you got the high OG cut. And now even that, we got an 85 high, which is a different cut. And those go for more money. But I'm happy to see these discounted though at $160. These are the reimagines. And these are the Rare Airs, Air Jordan 1, retailing $125. Now I have found these shoes in the Nike factory store for $100 in the state of Florida. There's no sales tax on anything. 100. Yeah, that actually kind of started me. We have found these shoes in the Nike factory store for $100, and because this is no tax in the state of Florida for the whole month of August, there's no additional pricing. In other words, they're tax exempt. So this will be a great pickup, but I think they're sold out now as making this video. Then we get to the Dunks. One of the most highly sought after shoe in this recent decade, around 2020, 21, 22. Now they're a forgetting gem. Imagine buying a Dunk at this price 2 years ago. You would think you struck gold, but nah, it was never gold. It was fool's gold. Because people just followed the hype. And Nike bid into the hype and produced mad colorways, more than we care for, more than we can keep track or keep up with. And no matter how much they discount them, people are still not buying. And this is what happens when you don't buy what you like. Imagine if everyone stuck to the script, buy the shoes that they want and love, there would be no mass-produced shoes. Nike would not have the audacity to produce shoes that no one wants. Because no one's buying this even at a reduced price of $85. No one asked for this at a reduced price of $100. And even the suede material is actually good. No one cares for them. Then you got this green colorway, 80. And then you would think this is a classic colorway. I call this a candy cane, red and white, similar to the shoes I got on feet. The Air Jordan 6 Carmines. These are the original candy canes. Fire shoe air bubble unit. This shoe came out like 2 or 3 years ago. Also hit the outlet. But there was some flaws in pairs. But as collectors, we don't care. We just want something that we love. And I love the Air Jordan 6 because that's when I started watching basketball. That's when I started watching the Bulls play. Michael Jordan won his first championship against the Lakers. You know that move when he put it up, fake, and But nevertheless, the shoes I got on feet is way more classy than these Pandas. This was a fad. The only memories I'm gonna have of this is how reckless people was buying this shoe during the pandemic. And then they got more Dunks over here. More different styles. The shoelaces is different. This is also here for $100. Then they got this for $95. No one cared for a black and brown shoe. I think it's hideous. Unless it's a collab, no one is checking for it. This is 80 and that's 85. Look at all these Dunks, just wildly available, reduced at best, no sales tax, and they're just running rampant in JD Sports. Guys, I need your eyeballs. Right now, find these Adidas basketball short. The quality is great. It's phenomenal. The price, even better. It is $20. However, it is so long. Remind me of the Fab Fives when they play at Michigan. They had them long pants. People ain't doing this no more. I don't mind above the knee like I got on right now, but Nike just don't make them above the knee with quality such as these Adidas. Bring back the good heavy mesh basketball shorts. That's where I'm at. And I don't play ball in Adidas shoes. I got a few of them, like the D Lillers, and I forgot the other brand, the other name of them. I'll put a picture up. I don't know if I want this long. This crazy? Will I look crazy on court? Still rocking like 90s style basketball shorts like these? Let me know. So I guess I'm gonna have to pass on these. Too baggy for me.